With news that the Taliban have taken over Afghanistan, some of you may be wondering, who exactly are the Taliban? In this video, we are going to do a deep dive into the history of the Taliban, who they are, how they started, and what we can possibly expect in their renewed leadership in Afghanistan. Keep watching to find out. The Taliban, or students in the Pashto language, first started appearing around the mid-1990s. They actually started in Pakistan, who Afghanistan had many contentions with prior. After the departure of the Soviet Union, the Taliban is a highly religious group stemming from the Islamic branch of Sunnism, which is the most common branch of Islam. This religious movement first started with religious seminaries that were highly supported, in fact, paid for, by Saudi Arabia. For those that don't know, religion often has a spectrum of types of believers. There are more lax believers, those who don't follow rules obsessively or strictly, and those that are stricter and follow the rules exactly as it's stated, and everyone in between. In the case of the Taliban, they follow a very strict form of belief. Keep watching until we talk about the laws that the Taliban established. We are sure it's going to give you an uncomfortable shock. During a difficult time for Afghanistan, just finishing the Soviet War, they were looking for some peace. The Taliban promised just that. Many Afghans were open to their rule, largely because they didn't know what to expect when they said they would enforce Islamic law. It's amazing how quickly the Taliban was gaining ground in Afghanistan. Within 2 years of their insurgents, they already captured the heart of Afghanistan, the capital, Kabul. By 1998, 4 years before their insurgents, they had control over 90% of Afghanistan. Unfortunately, the Taliban came at a time when people were sick and tired of both inter and intra fighting. The Mujahideen's infighting was becoming intolerable to the Afghans. So with the big promises given by the Taliban to maintain peace and order, the people couldn't resist. However, these promises were simply shadowing a very difficult time for Afghans. Before this promise was revealed, the people were generally happy. The streets had very little crime, and the streets were a very safe place to be. The problems began when they started introducing laws that revolved around a strict following of Sharia law. Maybe some of you have heard of medieval laws from Catholics, for example, of cutting off a hand of a thief, or even being burned because of an accusation of being a witch. Well, the Taliban was looking to introduce laws similar to these. Public executions began against murderers and adulterers, amputations against thieves, men had to grow beards, and women had to be fully veiled. They even banned television, music, and the cinema. Imagine that Netflix, Spotify, and YouTube were all taken from you instantly. It sucks, doesn't it? For those who are well versed in religion, you'll know that women had next to no rights. They were considered closer to objects than they were people, and unfortunately, this belief was applied heavily under Taliban rule. Being an Abrahamic religion, they literally follow an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Are you enjoying the video so far? Why not give it a like and subscribe to the channel? Don't forget to ring the notification bell for all the latest updates. For any of the younger generations, this may be something you can't remember. However, the date September 11th, 2001 is a really big day. This is not only the day that the Twin Towers fell, but it's the day that the world realized the role that the Taliban led in Afghanistan. The United States were quick to blame the attack of the Twin Towers on the Taliban, with the prime suspect being Osama bin Laden. He was the leader of the Al-Qaeda movement. The United States very quickly took over Afghanistan, but this was not nearly enough to subdue the Taliban. Even though Afghanistan was ruled under American authority, there was more violence than before. On May 2nd, 2011, the United States finally managed to succeed in their manhunt against the one who is blamed for destroying the Twin Towers. However, there was still much fighting. Throughout the next 10 years, after bin Laden's death, there were countless talks and attempts at peace treaties between the United States and the Taliban. Most of these talks failed until we enter into this year. America, Joe Biden, decided that he wanted all troops outside of Afghanistan by September 11th, 2021. All American troops were outside of Afghanistan before this date. Unfortunately, because the Taliban were never really subdued, they quickly took over as the US troops began departing. It only took the Taliban 10 days to take over the capital city of Afghanistan back. So, at the end of America-led Afghanistan, a country that is now even weaker than when the Taliban first came to power, is returning to the way things were 20 years ago, and we can expect those same strict laws to resume. What do you think of this video? Did you learn more about the Taliban? Did you already know all this information about them? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for watching and see you later.